Oh my gosh. I look like Urkel. Hello, it's me, Queen Sensitivity, and today I'm going to do an energy update. Guided to call this Edith the Dragon energy update. It's very intense. It was very difficult to get this live video started. Um, yeah, it's very intense. That's usually what happens whenever I do any readings to do with dragons. Very, very strong, very, very powerful, but I was guided to do this. And then I also am channeling only, the highest consciousness of the dragon aspect of source consciousness. Lord. Okay, so I heard the name Edith when getting ready for this reading, when I heard that there was a dragon going to be present, and I looked up Edith. It's a name in Old English, Ed and Gaio, I think is how you pronounce it, or Geo. No, I think Gaio, Gaia, something like that. Ed means wealth, prosperity, riches, or blessed, and Gaio means strife or war. So it's like prosperity and war is how I'm taking it. Prosperity in battle, like some sort of great achievement after strife or challenges being rewarded or followed by achievement is the message. And I also feel like that's like going to be a theme throughout this reading, so I want to start off with that. I'm also going to start off by reading the channel messages I got. They came through really strongly on the, I think, 22nd, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think the 22nd, or either the 23rd. Either way, I'm going to read it. So the first one that came through was very odd, so I'll just read it. I'm not sure yet why I'm being called to share this message, 9:22, but I'm going to go ahead and share it. The message that has been coming through for the last several hours is that we as humans are able to regenerate our limbs. Many people have already experienced this. Sorry, my eyes are very blurry right now. I think it's because of the high energy. Let me move this closer so I can see. Many people have already experienced this and just don't know it because it's not in the way that's shown in movies. What one cannot perceive, one misses entirely. This is due to limited understandings of impossibilities. I'm guided to watch a video shared about people who experience jumping into parallel realities. Many of these people said it was because they were sure that they died in their original reality. This is regeneration of limbs. It doesn't necessarily have to look the way it is shown on screens or even the way other creatures do it, like a salamander. Perhaps and stay with me here. These creatures are multidimensional and are simply replacing their bodies in this reality with their limbs from other ones. Perhaps it looks like growth because we view it through the lens of time, which is not linear. I have more to share, but I think it'll be best in another post. For now, I feel like there are many reasons for me sharing this, but right now I'll mention two. One, miracles, magic, and manifest do not have to look like what you have been limited in believing they can look like or be experienced like. And secondly, this is not real, and you are more real than you could possibly perceive in this moment. However, you are beginning to know it again in such a way that is an unknowing. This is not doomsday. This is miracle magic manifesting. Pow. Okay? So that's the first one that I got. And it was connected to something else, which kind of goes into the message that I was getting yesterday. So that was that one. And these are all on my Instagram as well as my YouTube community page. So I'm going to read the second one. I'm being guided to show this imagery because I was guided to show this specific, like make it look like this. So it looks like this. Can you see? It's like these crystals in this pink. Is how I was guided to design it. Okay? I'm once again going with the flow of what I'm being called to do. this image is different from what I usually produce, but it was very important that it looked the way it does. I was also guided to not put my name on it, which is also something I never do because my images have been stolen in the past. This too is a part of the message. We don't own anything. I shared a reel of Dr. Shefali speaking about the child and parent dynamic. She spoke about how parents think they own their children, but they don't. She spoke about how people see this as something being taken away from them, but it's actually them gaining liberation. This is the message from Spirit. You do not own anything. This is not a form of theft because you are already being stolen from by believing that what you create is quantifiable, is a quantifiable effect on all life. You feel me? Do you understand what I'm saying? You can't be quantified. You can't be separate from your creations as well as you are not them. It's much too sacred and expansive to ever put into a box of true ownership. The message that wanted to come through the pink is one about the sacred divinity of lovemaking between twin flames, divine counterparts, or Sarah J. likes to call them, mates. There have been layers upon layers of corrupt magic interference in these two's sexual dynamic. It felt as if no matter how close they got to connecting in that way, there was always a ceiling on it. I've been picking up on this, and I'm happy to exuberantly share that these icky spells have been executed. It looks like dark black goo, and it was tricky, like the lovers thought it was one thing, a true orgasm, but it was not. It was vaulted. It had a ceiling. This interfered with the true unity at the highest consciousness level, which creates as it goes upwards. Now, if you want, if you are willing, the ceiling can be removed. This block has been fully cleared, and it's up to you to claim it as your divinity. Divine declarations are being made in the name of love. To speak about it using words is beyond confining, but you are able to pick up the vibrational multitudes of what I am speaking on my own and writing if you are feeling up to it. And then there should be a comment. How do I read the comments? Oh my gosh, I'm so slow. Oh, I found it. As it is meant for you, it is felt. These healings are extraordinarily pungent. If you are feeling this, thank you for your sacred vessel, as it is what we are. If you have seen my post about the regenerative limbs, this is all connected. I'm hearing Dr. King/Jesus references, or I was seeing them. Yeah, I was hearing and seeing them. So it was basically that Jesus came out of the tomb, and this is because he was never dead and cannot die. Energy can only be transformed or transferred. We look to T-women. If you don't know, T-women is another word for trans women for this guidance. It has been right in your face to rein it back in. It is all connected. The body is sacred as it is a vessel for these energetic light codes to flow into and create or ground. These channels vessels have been terribly interfered with because they knew this. These interferences look like black goo, icky, ink, oil. They covered layer upon layer upon the mates in their sacred sexual time. What appeared as release was actually limited. This captioned ceiling has been removed. It is there if you want it. If you are open to it, tap in and become limitless as you already truly are. This is the beginning again. Yours, Queen. And then after this, one more message came in. This one I only shared on my YouTube community page. I'm being guided to share this one too because I was guided with the color of this one. This is the home energy update in brown. I was going to say purple, but it's brown. I thank you for the comments and for giving thumbs up. Thank you. Okay. Oh, this one looked long. Here we go. We betray ourselves by turning on those who reflect who we are, by turning towards those who do not. Much of this has been karmic, but karma is just another form of judgment, which is in itself a betrayal of love. For so long, we have been in these mazes. Oh my gosh, these things are like connecting. It's blowing my mind. Mazes of wrong and right. The rose petals distorted to look like shards, and the shards distorted to look like roses that cut. We become familiar with the sweetness of blades and unfamiliarize ourselves from the softness. This has been cleared as well. Soul family fuckery. We have betrayed one another again and again. All is forgiven now as we arrive home together like the bestest of friends. I'm feeling that many of us will be experiencing memories of happiness and love and joy flowing in. Wow, wow. It's connecting to other stuff. Memories have also been tampered with. I saw a video saying that African people have been experiencing in their present bodies the memories of their ancestors' enslavement. This causes us to feel depression and anxiety from centuries in the past. This causes us to experience curses inflicted upon us and within us from centuries ago. This has also been manipulated and fucked with. Our memories are lost memories of homes, of true families coming together in love, light, and unity, of us sitting in the darkness together and knowing it as our home, not shying away from what is black, not removing the truth away from it and distorting it into enemy territory. These are memories, true, real memories of mothers who are mothers, of fathers who are fathers, of parents, of villages of us coming together again and again, of us knowing each other and showing up for each other. There was only ever a trickster mirror telling you that your enemies were your neighbors and that they were going to take you for all you had in the night. In the heart of that, nothing can ever be taken from you because you already are everything. This truth has been revealed. Anything now that you see regarding the doom, the politics are just a plot to twist. That's what I heard. It was like, politics sounds like plot to twist. Politics, plot twist of it all. These happenings are symbolisms of things going off track, but actually they are going along to a much more massive, magnificent, divine plan. You are allowed to celebrate as the walls fall apart, as the party crashers do their thing because they are doing God's thing. They are doing source's work. And where do you belong in all of this? Dare I say, bereft with joy and silly, contagious laughter. Dare I say, smiling as everything aches because you feel the new bones coming in, the old and new again bones of all of our houses, our homes, our infrastructures being steadfast in their stability, as if they never shook, never fell, never cracked, never gave in, never gave up, never sunk, never believed in their own demise. It is back. It is black. It is returned. It is rejuvenated. Feel into the jubilee. This does not always look like happiness and dizzy peace, as we have been taught it could only look like, because love has many forms, and it is bleeding. It is bleeding all over, everywhere, and everyone and everything. And don't be fooled. The bleeding of life's blood is it also pouring back into itself. For where else does love have to go besides to itself, when itself is the place, is everything? Bleeding out is always healing, heading in. We are headed into a freedom like we have never, but always truly deeply known, and thusly have been unsatisfied with anything else. And I will repeat in a clear words than before. This is not a drill. The love wave miracle manifest is here. It is a happening. You are allowed to be excited. Okay, that's the message that came in. Some of these words, like the happening, I hear Ramona Lappin say that a lot. I don't know really what it means, but like everything here was very specific for me to share. Okay, so many things I didn't even realize. So many things have been happening where, like, I pick up these things psychically and then they show up afterwards, and it's so strange because they've been showing up in movies. Today I finished watching this movie called Spirited Away, and in that movie, that's why I was like tripping out, because oh my god, I didn't know I had this many subscribers. But anyways, I was tripping out because like the memories came back in there of them in that movie, like the memories of joy and laughter. Like I feel like there's been this inversion, because I was shown, let me close this now because it's distracting me. I was shown this video on Instagram, and that's why I'm always like careful about getting all these videos about black people and all these things about African ancestry, because it's a lot of like heaviness and like doomsday. Like they tell you all the negative shit, but they don't tell you like the good shit. And so it's like this trick. But I came across this video and it was saying that it's been proven that in our DNA we carry the memories of like enslavement and all the things that come with that, all the things that come with colonization are still in our DNA. And I was like, the message that was coming through was that while that may be true, it's also kind of inverted. Like there are memories also in our DNA of so much joy and like what the family infrastructure looked like and what supporting each other looked like. We have those memories also too in our DNA, and not only from like our African ancestry, which I feel like in itself is just very, very small compared to the vastness that it is in its core, which is so unknown and unknowable, I feel like, until you hit certain frequencies. So not only that, but also like galactically. And I also feel like at the same time it's the same thing, because I know for sure the continent of Africa is where a lot of like I'll just say like golden cities, for lack of better terms, were located, even though it's like multi-dimensional and like, you know, things. It's not really was there because this is a different dimension, but all those things. But yes, that's what I was picking up, is that like there are great memories that we already have. And so like what's happening when I felt this huge shift happening is like, it's like a, I don't know, like a, I don't know how to describe it, like a slip sandwich thing. But basically what I'm trying to say is that like this magnificent past is coming again into the present, but it's also like gonna be new because it's continuing. And it's continuing as if this middle part didn't happen, but everyone will know it did. And it won't be like, it won't be buried or hidden, but it also won't like hold us back or like stop our joy in any way. There's been so much like trauma coming up, being cleared, specifically to do with sexual trauma has been coming up to be cleared fully, and I've been very grateful for that. So I'm going to get into stuff because I have a whole list here, because I've been just taking notes until I've been able to feel up to it, because as the Matrix ends and we get blasted by all these light codes and source light consciousness, my body like is obviously like changing a lot. I don't know, I feel like I look different, but I also know that's just like the frequency. One of the things that's been coming in, I think the most, has been like validation and like proof that I'm not crazy. I feel like I've been underestimating still the amount of gaslighting that happens so often, and like how much it's made me like believe that I'm crazy and like gaslight myself. So I'll just give an example because I feel like it's also relevant to like, because everything is connected. So yesterday was my birthday and I went to the movies to see, I feel like I should sit differently. I went to the movies to see a Despicable Me 4, and it was just me and my friend, and she bought the tickets. And so when we were sitting down in our seats, she was like, oh, I think we need to go get 3D glasses because I'm pretty sure the tickets I bought were 3D. So we came out and we asked the person that was, you know, the people that rip up the ticket. We asked them, and I was like, we were like, we need the glasses. And they were like, no, it's a 2D movie. It's okay. So we were like, okay. Went back inside. Other people have the 3D glasses, but I'm just like, okay. They said it was going to be 2D. So we sit down, and then the movie come on, and it's obviously 3D, because you can tell when it's 3D because it's like blurry. And so I went back out, and I was about to have words. I came out and I was like, look, the movie is in 3D. We need the glasses. And a person was like, what? No, that's not true. And instead of like just believing me that it's 3D, they went and checked for themselves first and then show me where to get the glasses from. And so like this whole thing, like this strife between like 3D and 2D, and like somebody trying to gaslight you, because that is gaslighting. This person also told us the movie wouldn't be in English, and then the movie was in English. It was just these little spots of gaslighting. And I'm very grateful for it, obviously, because it's helping me with this reading. If you've like experienced this or are resonating with this, like validation coming in and like proof that the people who have been gaslighting you, or that your own thoughts that have been gaslighting you, you've been getting proof that you're sane, whatever that means. Let me know in the comments. I don't know, with like a blue heart or something. Basically, so there's this woman named Indigo Angel is the YouTube channel. This video was also brought to my attention by Ramona Lappin, because otherwise I usually don't get, for some reason my algorithm on YouTube doesn't show me a lot of like spiritual videos or like guru, so to speak. I don't get a lot of them. The ones I get I usually don't like, and it's very rare. But anyways, this video, I didn't agree with a lot of Indigo Angel said, but she was basically, it was cool because she had this map and she was like talking about the different stargates and this yada yada, and she was talking about Houston, which is where I lived, basically from there. And I talked about this all the time, how heavy it was there and how there was this firmament or whatever you call it. I felt like it was a dome on top of many areas there, and it felt so heavy and oppressive and sinister and evil in some areas, and it was so heavy for me there, very hard for me to like be at peace. I had a lot of difficulty, like when I lived on campus, like even just at home in the suburbs, just very heavy, very dense, very beautiful place. But it was just very affirming to finally have somebody who I didn't even know talking about Houston and these, I guess, black magic spells that are there. So that was very like healing for me. And she was saying about, this is the part that I really didn't agree with, but she was basically saying how like when Earth ascends, like where the gates will be. And I just didn't agree with that, because I feel like, and I feel like this is also going to be validated soon, the way the Earth looks now, I'm like, first of all, the way the Earth looks now, like according to our maps, isn't even accurate. This is how I feel. I don't think I have anybody shown me like how it really looks from what I can remember, but from my own intuition, the map of the Earth, that's not how it is, for one. And then for two, I feel like they're not in the right space. Like it's not in the right places, even as it truly looks now. Like the continents, they're not in the correct space, and I just haven't seen it like that. And also the whole thing about New Earth or Ascended Earth, Blessed Gaia, whatever you want to call it, is that it's alive. I'm like, that's like the main thing that I've been hoping to convey in all of my different sharings of what I've experienced as Ascended Earth, is that it's alive. It is alive. It is conscious. It is sentient, just like the Earth is now. And that's why it's called like the Matrix, and in verses like people have called it the Creatrix. And that's where you get into like, it's I feel like I'm being so bad at explaining things. So nothing is real, actually. Nothing is actually solid or real. It's all things that we create. We create everything and we project it. We make everything real. It's just that here, everything is highly manipulated and fucked with. So anyways, skip past that. Now we're talking about New Earth, Ascended Earth, and the Creatrix. We are conscious and aware that this is, that we create reality. And so, and then also we are nature, nature is us. And so it's able to shift, and like it doesn't just stay in place, and it doesn't work the same way, because the way that Earth functions and looks now is inverted, like at the most basic of principles. And so that's what I was saying. I didn't agree with that, but I felt like it was important for me to share that, that this is not how, like, I don't know, it just was in my chest. Like, she was showing the map of North America, and I was like, that's not how it looks. Like, that's not how it actually looks. And if it is, it's not going to look like that after ascension. And I say quotes because it's already done. Oh, it's shaking. Okay. So yes, that's like 2 things off my list. Let me check. I was getting validation about different things. Okay, so like another thing that I've been getting, bird just flew up. Another thing that I've been getting validation on is about Indigenous Americans or Native Americans. And I know, you know, to even say the word Americans is like, that's not in accordance with them or even use these terms, but you know what I mean. I have been strongly drawn to look into Native Americans for a few years now. This is so strange. It's this bird right here. So I guess I can talk about this. I'm in Guangzhou, China, and there are way less birds here than in Texas, where I'm from. And so it's like it's rare to see like birds on these trees outside my window. And not only did a bird fly over here, it was like coming closer. So I think that was cool. That's why I'm like so amazed, in case anybody was like wondering, like, it's just a bird. But anyways, yes, Native Americans. So I was drawn to watch like the show on Disney Plus, and it's called like The First Alaskans. There was this necklace that I was drawn to get from the spiritual shop, and it was a Native American or Indigenous arrowhead. Felt very pulled to get it, and so I got it, and then it broke. And I think like 8 months later, I went to the crystal shop and like applied for this raffle, and I got another one again, same one for free. I have it here, but the necklace has broken again, like the chain has broken. So there was that. And then in my family, they always spoke about how we do have Native American family member like way back, and just different things like the park where I used to love to go, and the park where I went on the first date with my twin flame. I found out later, I don't know how later, but eventually I found out that there was this huge ass sign, and it said that that area used to be occupied by Native Americans, and that they discovered a lot of like cool artifacts at that park that I used to like, just was drawn to, and specifically that area. And then, but I never like really identified as like Native American or Indigenous at all. Even though I've had like visions of like me as my grandmother a long time ago, and like just always been very drawn. But recently I came across this video on Instagram, and it was this Afro-Indigenous woman, and she was saying how she was from Alabama, where I'm from. I know I just said I'm from Texas, but I was born in Alabama. She was saying that she was Afro-Indigenous, she's from Alabama, and that people always ask her for proof that she's Indigenous. And then she was like, why would like you want me to go get papers from the same people who wanted me erased? And she spoke about, I think, something called like the $5 list, where they would like erase and removed Afro-Indigenous people from like the documented lineages of indigenous people. So that's one of the things. It's like, I feel like I used to always like gaslight my mother and like different people in my family, because they'd always say we have a Native American woman like that was in our family and like related to us, and I would be like, no, you know, because I don't know if you know, like black people love to say like, oh, we got Indian in our family. Like black people love to say that, and so I just like, no, it's enough for me to just be African. That's plenty, because the DNA test that I did do, yeah, it's laughable now, but I wanted to do it. It has a lot of different countries in my genetics, whatever you call it. Anyways, and Native American didn't come up, but then this, like, why would it? Like, why would it come up? And now I feel very sure because of that video and talking about the history of it. And so that's another thing that came in, like, in terms of, like, the gaslighting, like, being confirmed. Because I'm, like, for years, like, I feel like my ancestors have been wanting me to have these arrowheads and to become more knowledgeable of indigenous cultures. And I've just been like, yeah, I'll view it from, like, afar. And then, like, meanwhile, the whole time, like, it's actually my culture as well. So that came in. Let's check that off. So next, we're going to get into parallel realities. So this is kind of something that I talked about in the post that I read at the beginning of this live video energy update. Basically, Ramona Lappin, she shared this video of, like, it was like a collection. I don't know what the cool term is, but it was a collection of people doing stitches, I think that's what it's called, on TikTok, of, like, people talking about a time when they knew that they'd shifted to a parallel reality. And all these people were talking about, like, having a near-death experience, or just these weird moments where they woke up and things were slightly different than they remember them being. And some people eventually went back to their original reality, and some people didn't. And they were talking about these things like they were rare. And I was like, oh my God, this happens to me all the time. I was like, it happens to me all the time. It was very validating, but I'll just give you an example. I've talked about this many times, but I'll just share again. Like, I have a lot of dreams. Like, I think most of my dreams have been normal days, but, like, where things are slightly different. Like, I used to have a lot of dreams back home in Texas where I used to, like, have my favorite chips in the pantry, or, like, my favorite juice would be in the refrigerator. Like, that I was sure that I remember that somebody bought me those things. And then I'd wake up the next day and it wouldn't be in the refrigerator and it wouldn't be in the pantry. And I'd be like, what the hell? Like, just different things. Like, I thought I'd had a dream that I'd put this sweater over here. But then when I wake up, I didn't. And I have to remember that it's a dream. And the same thing happens here. Like, I had a dream that I thought the trash can in my friend's room was over there and it looked like this, but it wasn't. Just like these little slight things that happen all the time. I've had recently while I was here, like, I was sure that one person told me something, but it was somebody else that told me that. Like, these things happen all the time. That was very validating to, like, know that these could just be close realities that I glimpse into or tap into while I'm asleep that are happening. And basically what it comes down to, or, like, I don't know, I feel like it's really important, because if you go into, like, the whole multiverse thing and parallel universes and even the different dimensions, as I've mentioned, that's why I don't like to give too many details, although these things can be important. Oh my God, it's like, how high do these shorts go? I literally feel like a female Urkel. let me pour some tea. Okay. What was I saying? So, Basically, the thing that I want to emphasize with this talk about parallel realities, okay, the thing is, it's like time doesn't exist. Time doesn't exist. And as it exists for the sake of this experience, right? It is not linear. It is not linear. It's not this straight line that's just one thing. And it's like, it's kind of like the trouble you see, because everything is a reflection as well as is the real thing. Like with the Marvel movies, and then 444 on a time now, with the Marvel movies and it getting into all these multiverse, and it's showing you like what happens like when people start to wake up and they're able to, or they wake up but advance the technology. That's how they do it in Marvel, I believe. Like they advance the technology, but for our sake, when people start to wake up and realize that there are these different parallel realities, because we're waking up and realizing, because this is about to be over, and we're making it so. We have made it so. And you start to tap in and become aware of these different multiverses, like in the Marvel movies, right? These cracks start to happen. It's like, and this is all just my take. This is how I see things. So you know, take what resonates and leave the rest. You know, I feel like it's also not just one way, but I feel like because it is a matrix, so because it is like a video game, and you have multiple like conscious characters or main player characters, NPCs, taking like their own divine authority back and not going along with the game in multiple like versions of the game, like the technology cannot keep up with it. It can no longer like keep up the pace. It's kind of like, imagine like a virus happening in a video game. The video game is eventually going to malfunction, but before it completely like malfunctions and dies, it's going to send all these antivirus antivirus like things, because I'm pretty sure that's a thing in coding. Like whenever there's a virus, like they send, like the computer will send out antivirus. The same thing that happens in like the human body, but like they mimic the human body, but obviously, you know, it's not the same. And then, you know, the antivirus, I feel like they inevitably like cause it to its own demise to happen faster, because if you think about it, if the viruses are, you know, they're virusing and waking up and realizing, something ain't right. And then the computer game sends in all these antiviruses to like stop them. And like, I feel like it's just gonna make more proof that like wakes up the viruses even more. That's basically what I'm getting into. And so the thing that I wanted to emphasize about all of the parallel things and all the complexities of all the things that I just said is that it's also not about the complexities of it. It's not about the different layers. It's not about the virus and the antivirus. It's like having this information can be helpful, learning, like having these tools and methods to conceptualize what I'm talking about these different dimensions, different parallel realities. All that stuff is cool, but at the core of it, it's very simple. And I want to emphasize that I want that to be like the main thing of my channel, is that you don't have to be this cool person who knows all these spiritual terms, who does all these spiritual things. No. Like, to ascend or to be in the group, you don't have to know all this shit. Like, all you need to do at all times is like love yourself. Like, love yourself. And I feel like the more like you dig into that, the more you come into realization that like loving yourself is like not judging yourself, being without judgment for yourself. And then like being without judgment for yourself also means like that you are able to detach to this idea of confining yourself to even this like personality, but also not hating it either and not wanting to be dissociated from it. And then when you get into that space of like detaching, being okay with this personality, this character, this story that you have of, you know, of your life, but also not pushing it away, that's that space that I always talk about. I always talk about this in my videos. Like, that's that space in between when you zoom in or you zoom out. There's this space, and I feel like that's source, that's the womb, and that's all you need to know, really. Like, that's all it is. It's just that. Yeah, I think I want to like quickly get into do I want to get into that? I feel like I've already explained it a bit in my other videos, so for now I'll move on. I've also been seeing like for one, insects, but also like the orb fairies. I should have like gotten my fairy deck, but I've been seeing the orb fairies. I remember I made a video like almost 2 years ago, I think, and I was like, I keep seeing the orbs in my room, these orb fairies, like these orbs of light flying around my room. And then I think that same night, or then like 8 hours later, this lady who I followed at the time caught them on camera at this pond, and I can't find that video for shit of her catching them on camera, but I've been seeing them a lot lately. And then like my friend told me about this movie called Pan's Labyrinth, and then I connected it, like it has a lot of like symbolism that's in Coraline, and as well as I just watched the movie today called Spirited Away. It's like it's the same storyline, so it's most likely the same story. I think Pan's Labyrinth is the oldest, but basically what I was getting from that were these memories coming back of visions or dreams that I'd had of what I call inner earth, where there were these insects there. And I feel like whenever this happens, I don't know, I feel like there's messages trying to come through from these insects, or these beings that are green, and these fairies, like these tiny creatures. And I'm hearing the birds now, and I feel like, how am I like trying to describe this? I'm so sorry if I'm like talking in circles. Just give me a moment. It's a lot of messages that come through at once, and I've already been talking for a while. I feel like whenever I have this kind of surge of these beings, these smaller creatures coming in, they're showing great signs of support. And I feel like they're like a parallel or like a reflection. So I said inner earth, and if inner earth is like saying, we support you, that also means, I guess you could say, the galactics, or like the extraordinary beings, whatever, beings that are extraterrestrial are also joining in. I do feel like this resistance to me saying that, talking about, excuse me, the galactics. I will say this to whoever needs to hear it, or just perhaps just on behalf of myself. Whenever I'm in contact with other beings, I always like check their energy first to make sure it's from the highest level of source consciousness, because at the beginning when I was saying that this reading was coming through from this dragon, Edith, or the dragon wanted the name Edith to be spoken at least. So that might not be their name, or it's a consciousness. It's just everything should always, as I believe it, should always be coming through just spirit, just source. It should always be spirit or source. Anything outside of that, you might as well be talking to somebody on like a stranger on the street, which is like nothing wrong with that, but they should also be coming through the highest possible consciousness of Christ, of spirit. And so I feel like I want to say that because I feel like don't assume just because it's an angelic or it's a dragon or even it's a fairy that these beings will just have your highest good. And I also want to say highest good in mind. I also want to say with that, also don't get to thinking that just because these are angels or dragons or fairies or whatever, that you have to fear them or that they have like more power than you. They don't. You don't have, there's nothing to fear. Like even if there is some interference or if there is something that you feel trying to fuck with you from one of these beings, you have the ability to stop that by aligning yourself once again with your own highest self. Just realign yourself to the state that you know you're supposed to be in, and you can feel it. You can feel it. I feel like a light, a rod of light shooting through me, past my feet, above my head, and get back in alignment with that, and you good, because can't nothing fuck with you if you're only giving permission to yourself. So that's that. Check, check. Check, check. Okay, so I've spoken about Native Americans. So something else that's been coming up is like shamanism or like shamans. And just even to talk about like the density of Houston and like me being there and also being here where I am. I'm a light worker. I do a lot of work. And I feel like I used to say that all the time to like my family or like anybody who would listen. I'd be like, I work so hard, and I always just felt like people didn't really appreciate it or like understand like the level of work that I do energetically. And I feel like that also is something that I want to talk about, because I feel like there's this, and that also has to do with like the gaslighting to the point where you start believing it yourself. It's like, oh, all this hard work that I do, because people can't see it even though they can feel it, and I'm helping them tremendously like with their lives and their souls, they don't recognize it as important or sacred, and so you also start to like undervalue it. Yes, that whole thing. There's like this imagery of like, oh, this medicine woman that's in the woods. Like, I think a very easy example would be if anybody's seen the movie Brave, and there's like the witch, and everybody like goes to her when they need help. She has all these medicines and poisons and stuff, and of course she looks insidious, but also like she lives in the woods. Like, this is a woman that people go to when they want their fucking fates changed. They want their fates changed. Like, think about like how high level, how dope you have to be to change somebody's fucking fate. And they have this woman living way out in a hut in the woods. Like, shouldn't she be in the palace? Like, shouldn't she be someone that's highly protected and supported and given the resources? And so I feel like that's also something I feel like I've had to get really tough and really, really insistent with myself about not accepting less than I deserve, about not giving things out freely to people, especially my services. Like, this is a service. I'm giving out a lot of information, and even if and I don't even like the term information, but even if people don't get what I'm saying, or it comes out a certain way, my vibration, the energy that I'm sending out is very, very healing. And I would love some support. I would love some support from people, and it can be in any form. Doesn't have to be money, but something that I've been very grateful for is like attracting people around me who validate me immediately when I say something's off, when I say I'm picking up on something, when I say I swear something happened. People believing me immediately and saying that, speaking that, voicing that has been invaluable. And so I want to say that for the witches and wizards alike who you know, and you have these instincts, I want to say that it takes you like believing in yourself first, probably a lot of the times, and then there will materialize people who believe you externally. But I also want to say, like, I don't know, I feel like sometimes I want to say, like, you have to, like, create that support for yourself. Yeah, I just said that. Like, you have to create it for yourself, like, before it'll be realized. Because, again, we create our reality. And, like, these things, these ways of being, is creating support for yourself before it's seen. It's tough as shit, and it's actually, like, very unnatural to, like, have to do these things on your own. But I feel like it's also, like, reprogramming us and preparing us to get ready for how life is in the creatrix. Because like, if we're creating reality, you can't sit back and, like, wait on someone else to come and tell you, I believe you, and I believe in your ideas, and I believe in your visions for what you see. If you're the God, if you're the creator beings, and I say God very loosely as well as very seriously, because we are God, we are source, we are creator. So if you are the creator, you can't be waiting on somebody else to come and tell you it's okay or your creation is valid. You have to believe that yourself, and then so it's created using that, you know, that mating, that meeting, that union of the divine and feminine, divine masculine and feminine energy within you to then create it. Like, there's never going to be somebody else that comes, because you are that person. You are the one that they call. I think Lil Wayne says that a lot in his songs. He's like, what? No, I think it was Drake. They asked for the boss, so they sent me. Like, you're the boss. There's nobody else coming. It's you. And like, like, this is true, as well as we do need each other. We do need support, and that's why I say, like, the union of that masculine and feminine energy. And also I feel like the union of, like, different, like, all the feminine energies and all the masculine energy, because there's different aspects of each, which is why there's also so many infinite amounts of aspects of source consciousness. That's why you have these, the humans, the dragons, the insectoids, like, you have all these different aspects. It's still source. And I feel like that's also something that's been brought up in my reality. I saw this video, and it was this trans person. I think they were trans. I think this trans woman, and then this other person. I don't know what their gender was. I think cisgendered woman. Anyways, doesn't matter. The trans woman, she was saying, like, when people see me, like, they tell me that, like, I don't look like a woman, but what are they saying? I'm about to get all the terms wrong. Bear with me. This trans woman has a beard, I believe. Yes. And so people come up and they're like, you don't look like a woman. You don't look like the version of like trans women are supposed to look. And she was saying that I don't look like your version of a woman. And both of the people in the podcast were saying that like this idea of like how women should look is actually very modern, because before colonization and before all the like the technology and the media and all these things, there were so many different versions of what women look like. uh oh, my knees. They were saying how they grew up, because I believe these people were both Indian Americans or Indian British. I don't know how you say that, but Southeast Asian for sure. And they were saying that they grew up with women looked like hairy people. They were very hairy. But then, like, you grow up and then there's media and all these things, and it's like you get told that women don't have hair, women are hairless. And they were both agreeing that, like, the version of women that we've created is really what white women look like. And even then, that's not even how, like, white women look naturally a lot of the times. I will say. I remember, like, I thought, like, white women just had straight hair, which I think some do very rarely. And then I found out that most don't. They just straighten their hair. And so it's like, it's this fake idea, fake constructed version of, like, this is what a woman looks like. And then everybody in the world has to, like, fit into this mold. And so that's what I was saying about, like, union of the feminine within herself and union within the masculine, and these are both energies within himself, and then the union of those together is like that's the ultimate. That's the creator energy that creates worlds, universes, constructs, whatever you want to call it, which is very beautiful. I think it's almost all of everything I have, like, written down. Let me sip some tea. So I feel like this message is like one that's more from the dragon energy, is to, like, be creative and to start or continue to surround yourself with ideas that don't look like this. Like, start seeking out imagery, and if you don't want to, look online or books or whatever, create your own. Like, start being in that creator energy now. If you've been seeing 333s, like I have a lot of threes, or numbers that add up to 3, like 1, 2, or the number 12, or 111, different, like, combinations of threes, or you see things in threes. The number 444 that's 3 fours, like things like that. It's all encouraging you to start creating. And I'm feeling now, because I'm getting one of my own desires now, is to, like, start opening yourself up to impossibilities and get your brain used to, like I just said, like, things looking differently, and you open yourself up to the possibilities of those impossibilities by, like, prepping for them. I think they said, like, Oprah said, like, there's no such thing as luck. Luck is when opportunity meets preparation. It's like, get into your creator bag, get into your creator seat. Like, start doing that now. It's very important. But I also want to say, like, I don't usually like to bring up, like, the fact, like, of where I live, and, like, the fact that I've, like, moved to China, and it's, like, this cool thing, because I want to make something, like, very clear. there is no place that's safe in this world until like this world is no more. But also like it's until it's shifted. It's like I don't have like a dream place to live. I mean, I kind of do, but it'll never be okay. It'll never be all right, because there's always going to be something else. There's always going to be someone suffering, as long as, like, even these ideas, like I was saying earlier, of these separate places existing and these separate continents, and we don't speak the same language, and we don't have access to, like, or to even be able to understand other people's cultures, and like there's this huge disconnect. As long as these separations exist, I feel like every place will kind of be the same place, even though that's obviously not true. But I want to say that, like, wherever you are, you're going to be safe as long as you are in alignment, because that's you carrying your own creator like bubble, creator consciousness with you. And as long as you're in alignment with that, you're always safe. It's like you're carrying new earth access codes with you wherever you go. So no matter where you go, you're always safe. But at the same time, in terms of like, I feel like I want to say, like, don't compare yourself to me, or don't compare yourself to anybody else or other people, because we're all in this together. We're all in this place together. We've all volunteered to be here, some or most of us, without knowing what the fuck was happening truly or going to happen. And that's okay. We've all been terribly hurt. We are all suffering. And obviously people at varying degrees, and nobody's suffering is invalid by any means. Like, this is what I want to, like, I don't know, like, reiterate or get out there, because this is something, like, I know, it's just important for me. It's important for me to share that. So I think I'm going to pull some cards from the Wild Unknown deck to close out. I think I need another sip of tea. Harry Potter. Very grateful. I've been, like, picking up on, like, so much love, like, from source, and, like, just feeling like this is done. Like, for real. Like, this is done. And it's felt like the message has been, like, anything is proof. Like, all this shit that I've been hearing about, like, the election and Kamala, like, Spirit has been saying, like, this is proof. This is proof that it's done. Like, the more ridiculous everything gets, it's, like, it's because it is ridiculous. Like, it's revealing itself to be a game. And it's kind of reminding me of, like, what I was saying that Darius Wright in his most recent interview was saying. He was saying that, like the politicians or people on screens are gonna, like, sound like they're reading scripts. Like, they're gonna be reading scripts to, like, play out the rest of this game on the stage. And that's what it's been. So we'll just let any message, Spirit, that you would like to come through, any message at all. Okay, we'll just use these. Oh, I have, like, a dizziness now. It's probably time for me to eat. Oh, I want some ice cream. They don't have any vegan ice cream here. No vegan ice cream. No plant-based ice cream. No sorbets. Oh. Anyways. We have the Seven of Swords. Clarified by justice. We have, wow, the Sun. Wow. Clarified by the Mother of Swords. Wow. I'm hearing the bottom of the deck in this one. Which one? Both? Wow. The bottom of the deck is the Lovers. Wow. And then we also have the Moon. So I'm feeling like a lot of balance. Like I feel like the Seven of Swords is like a heavier kind of trickster, deceit energy, and then it's clarified by justice. And the Sun is such like a bright and hopeful energy, and it's clarified by the Mother of Swords, which is like, I feel like it's about like truth, but it's also like, I feel like the Mother of Swords is kind of like, because it's the Queen of Swords, it's like, I'm gonna be harsh with the truth, but it's also because she's just hurting and she's forgotten how to be vulnerable. And then we have the Lovers, which is obviously like, oh, let's fly off into the sunset. And then we have the Moon, which is like anxiety and like uncertainty, I will say. Not so much anxiety I'm getting from this one, but just the sense of uncertainty. And it's almost like these lovers are flying towards the uncertainty. They're flying towards the unknown. So I feel like that's like the last message of this energy update is like, have faith. Like, have faith. This is for me, I'm here. Like, have faith, Jabria. Have faith. And, like, continue to fly towards the unknown. Because it's like, Spirit is saying, like, we've proven to you by now, for sure, that we can do some shit. Like, we can fuck some shit up. Like, we can make some doorways open. Right? So you can do it. That's how I feel. Like, we can make some doorways open. But like trust that we got you. Like, trust that you don't have to live in this kind of clog, clink clack kind of way anymore. Justice is going to be served. I'm feeling specifically like to the animals. There's a lot of animals in these cards. Like, justice is going to be served to the animals. And I feel like they'll be with you. Like all the insects and things. Like a lot of like animal totems. With the Sun, I feel like this is like the heart. Or like the literal sun is like the heart. And it's like, all I've ever wanted to do is like shine my brightest. But they told me that if I shine my brightest, that I would kill. It's like this gaslighting. It reminds me of like Lava Girl. From Shark Boy and Lava Girl, and how they kept telling her like to hold back her power because she was deadly. And then by the end of the movie, she realizes like she's not just lava and heat and destruction. She's also light. She's also light. And I realized just now that we have both the Sun and the Moon cards. And I feel like this is what I talk about all the time about like the moon and how like I just don't feel like the moon is an accurate description of the feminine. I just don't. Because the light of the moon is actually just a light of the sun. It's the sun. I feel like the sun is like still like saying like, I gave the life to the moon, like the light to the moon, and you still discredit me. You still say it's like, it's not me. And then I'm like the moon itself. I don't know. It's just a lot of stuff. It's like this feeling of being unappreciated, the divine feminine, which is something that did come out in this reading. So what's like the closing message about this energy? The Tower. I'm hearing not this one. What's the closing message about this energy, Spirit? Saw this one come out. Father of the Sword. Why does this one always come out? Excuse me. Father of the Sword and the Six of Pentacles. And the Six of Pentacles is about like balance, like I feel like justice in a material kind of way. And I feel like the justice is going to be served to this sun and like this feminine energy that feels like hurt and unappreciated. It's going to be served by the divine masculine energy, the Father of Swords, in a physical, material kind of way. So I feel like a lot of like divine feminines are about to get or have or are receiving physical material blessings, physical material abundance and appreciation. And I'm sending this out. And I would say, please, if you take anything away from this, if you've made it to like this far in the video or the whatever it's called, like, respect your divinity. And if you ever don't know how to do anything, like, I don't know, clear the grid or like manifest something or whatever, just always just be with yourself and ask yourself, show me the way. Show me the way. And it could be the most ridiculous thing, like making a post on Instagram about healing limbs, rejuvenating limbs. It could be finding somebody with a frog on their shirt. It could be anything. But respect it. Respect the divinity that you are given. And I promise you, like, that the more that you trust yourself in your own divinity, in your own intuition, it'll just keep leading you to bigger moments like that, bigger moments of leaping, jumping, flying into the unknown. And I feel like before you know it, you'll be at the sun. Okay, so I'll leave it here. Leave a comment if this resonated. You're welcome to support me any way that you feel called to. And I thank you for your support. Thank you for sharing and liking and doing your best. And I'll see you soon. Bye.